Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to Anson and Paul's Big Movie Podcast. I am Anson Chan.
And I am Paul Morgan.
And today we are doing an anime special featuring...
An amazing episode.
Featuring Akira.
And your name. So, which should we start with?
I would like to start with Akira first.
Okay.
I will take it away. Akira, the 1988 seminal anime film directed by Katsuhiro Otomo. It's about a young boy named Tetsuo who lives in the futuristic Japan of 2030 or something, post-World War III. Correct. And he's part of a biker gang, which gets into a lot of scraps around the derelict neighborhoods of Neo-Tokyo. After a severe accident he has with an escaped psychic child, I guess you could say, the military learns that he too possesses strange and powerful abilities and wish to train him as well. However, it soon becomes apparent that they can't control Tetsuo or his powers, and neither can he really. And calamity ensues when he decides to take matters into his own hands and find the fabled Akira, this strange, kind of like mythical person, if you will, who was rumored to have started World War III. How's that? I guess also they follow his friend
Kaneda?
They follow his friend Kaneda and his girlfriend Kei, who are mixed up in some kind of like revolutionary mumbo jumbo.
She's like directly involved in it, and Kaneda kind of falls in with them, sort of.
Yes, because Kaneda has an interest to find Tetsuo after he's been abducted by the military, and they have an interest in finding Tetsuo because they know that he's part of this psychic project, if you will.
Yeah.
There you go. Is there anything I missed?
No, I don't think so. I mean,
all right.
I would say the only other thing is like there's this wacky colonel who kind of oversees the
wacky colonel.
Once again, I'm going to be describing these characters much differently than you because I watched it in English and you watched it in
God,
Japanese. So there's this wacky colonel who's like the overseer of the military project, and he's kind of like a third party who's trying to get in between all of these characters.
Yeah, so the message is very different. I would say it is significantly different from the Japanese to the English translation. In English, they try to make the military sound a lot better than it is. And I can see why you say the colonel is quote-unquote wacky.
Yeah, he just had a silly voice. It was so silly looking.
What? Where's Tetsuo? You have to come back. It was just really bizarre.
Yeah.
I really wish we would have seen it in Japanese, because the message gets so...
I'm going to have to watch it in Japanese in order to properly glean. I really need to watch the real one.
Yeah. The subs were fine.
And now that I've seen all the amazing visuals, I can spend some time reading the scenes.
Yeah. I couldn't appreciate the visuals in the English version because their dialogue was just so fucked up that I was just scratching my head and going, what? The whole time. So I actually lost more in the English version than I did in the Japanese.
Damn, that's funny.
Yeah. So, should we get to business with the regular format of our podcast?
Yeah, let's start it off.
So, Paul, what did you like about the English version of Akira?
Well, the animation, gosh, was just really nifty. It reminded me of that movie Heavy Metal. Have you ever seen that?
No.
It's like this pioneering 80s movie that's basically like a series of short stories, a lot of which are set to like hair metal music of the time or like stoner metal type stuff. And it's like all these wacky stories, and like it has this very kind of weird animation style that this reminded me of, where it's like sometimes even the most normal looking faces, just by virtue of like turning or like smiling or something like that, are
kind of horrific.
Yeah, kind of like it warps these faces in these weird ways, and I loved it. And it has this kind of like I don't know, this feeling of like a doomed, hellish future that's like populated by people who are like just down to hurt others, and like I don't know, it feels like that. And that's I think like a really interesting way to look at the future, because like it's not like a dystopia where it's like every man for himself. It's just like a heightened version of the world we live in slightly. I loved that world building kind of stuff and the angle of politics and the coup and everything. I really liked Tetsuya's character. I don't know how to really say it, but the character who's like constantly needing other people's help and he starts resenting their help, and then he like craves an opportunity to act on his own.
Fuck him over.
Yeah, well, yeah, even just acting on his own without fear of needing, you know, from other people. I loved that character. I thought that was really fascinating. And the fact that he was the one that got the power, I would have expected Kaneda to get it based on the first 10 or 15 minutes of the movie. If it was like a traditional American movie, it's like, oh, we're focusing on this guy. He's obviously gonna, you know, get the power. So I like that Tetsuya got it.
Interesting.
I thought
that's pretty tropey in Japanese, actually.
Oh, really? The kind of downtrodden person gets the opportunity to come up?
Yep.
Oh, I kind of like that. I just want to talk like a lot about the visuals, like the way that in the beginning, the buildings are kind of like scrunched in towards each other and they look kind of like, I don't know, kind of like doomy in a way. I don't know. And then,
they're really foreboding. They're
they kind of loom over the city as opposed to, just being a set dressing or something like that.
Yes.
I loved the violence because until the very last 30 to 45 minutes, it felt grounded in a way that a lot of anime violence doesn't always feel, if that makes sense.
Oh, yeah.
Like, it's like a 50 caliber Gatling gun ripping through a guy's chest, or it's like, you know, someone gets like shot a couple times and then they, you know, bleed a little bit, but they're still around. And, you know, it felt very grounded violence wise.
Mm-hmm.
I was absolutely in love with everything that happened after they got to the stadium with Tetsuya. The way his body grew out of his control and he like started taking control of the chair around him. And then he, you know, his body kind of had these morphed proportions, and then it got even worse and it kept getting more and more fucked up. It was like a horror movie at that point.
Oh yeah.
I liked the atmosphere of the movie. It felt like, and once again, I'm probably not getting even the real atmosphere because I'm hearing these English actors squealing in my face, but like the atmosphere of like this, it's kind of like cyberpunk aesthetic that they create. I don't know. I just liked almost everything about this movie except for the American acting.
Oh my God, we must get a second opinion when you see the Japanese one.
Yeah, right. I'll maybe just preface our next episode with that.
Yeah.
Oh man. Yeah. But I really enjoyed it. I thought like the angles of like the government wanting to control this seemingly uncontrollable thing because they think, you know, we need to get to it first. That's very much the atomic age attitude, you know, like, we need to have the atom bomb first. We need to have the hydrogen bomb first. We need to have, you know, Trinity and Castle Bravo before anyone else so people will bow to us, essentially. I like that angle a lot. It seemed very real world, even if the characters are very heightened.
Mm.
Yeah, I'd say, though, that's probably just about everything. I didn't really... It's more kind of just general, like I enjoyed the movie a lot. What about you? What worked for you in this one?
Well, I took the opportunity to watch the movie in Japanese, in English, and I also read the manga, which is like a Japanese comic book, which was over, I think it was like roughly around 1,200 pages.
Whoa!
Because when I watched it in Japanese the first time, I was so like, I guess, taken away with the movie. I said, holy shit, I gotta know more about it. And so I was watching some videos on YouTube kind of like about Akira. And then in one of them, it was like, oh, by the way, this is based off a manga. I'm like, duh. But they only used half of the material. And I said, what? It's like, yeah. So they left out like 600 pages out of like the 1,200. I was like, no way. What the fuck? So that made me dead curious to see kind of what was left out of it. Spoiler alert, it sucked. But yeah, I would not recommend reading the manga. In fact, I think it really kind of distorted my first impression of the actual movie, which was very, very excellent. to the point now where I try to reflect on the first time experience of Akira, and it's just completely muddled in, I think, all the different ways I've experienced the movie. So I'll be going a lot off of my notes and kind of like, I remember the feeling of what I had for the first movie.
Yeah.
So the Japanese version, I also really liked, well, I guess in general, I really liked the very real feeling of violence.
Yeah.
The riots in the street, they felt so real. It's like something out of, it reminds me of like the Rodney King riots. Like, I've only seen like flashes of footage or like Vietnam War protests when like smoke bombs get thrown in the street, people getting hit by like water cannons, you know. It's pretty fucking brutal, and like the physics feel so real. Like the smoke that comes out of the cans, like, is just all engulfing. Again, like you said, like when the guy gets just destroyed by the machine gun, he just gets literally torn to shreds. And it's like, yeah, that's probably pretty real.
Yeah, he like gets hit a couple times, and then he like tries to raise that gun, and then when he actually puts the gun out, just like body pieces gone.
Oh yeah, these dudes just get dunked on in this movie. So the violence felt so realistic. It's interesting because even anime today doesn't have the, I guess you would say, that realistic of gore. What a lot of anime today focus on is the spectacle of gore, of like extreme violence maybe, but rarely do you see realistic bullet damage or explosion damage to property, or, you know, stuff like that. And to imagine at the time, like, oh my god, this is like 1988. Holy fuck, they went all out for this movie. Oh yeah, I also like that, you know, back to the realistic violence. When people get shot, they go limp. There's no like, oh, they fall back, or there's no dramatic spin or anything like that. They die like how people would die in quote unquote real life or quote unquote army simulation, where if you snipe somebody from like 300 yards out, you don't see anything dramatic. They just fall over.
Yeah.
And what you see in this movie too, when they get shot and they're dead, they just kind of fall over. It's like, damn. It just carries so much weight when you feel that you've seen someone die, even though you know it's animated, right?
Yeah.
There are some really terrifying images. But anyway, to continue, I liked the contrast this movie constantly was showing the audience visually between like the rundown Tokyo, like the outskirts, versus like the megalopolis, bourgeoisie, hyper built up, futuristic buildings of like downtown, super duper bright and lit up, versus like the dingy, really run down, more to like real life Tokyo, I guess. You know what I mean? Like the burbs, but not as quote unquote run down. There was a scene in the very beginning where the guy and the little boy are getting chased. When they pass like a TV screen, you see like the news report saying like, oh, there are riots in the street because of the new tax reforms and there's no jobs. That quickly gets changed due to censoring or whatever to like a big dog commercial about puppy chow or something. And they have a bunch of really cute dogs like in like really bright cotton candy kind of colors eating puppy chow. And then it flashes to the police dogs, the military dogs, like chasing these guys through the streets, right? Just like ferocious and like, you know, barking their asses off. It's actually really scary. And I don't know if you've ever had that experience of like, I grew up loving dogs. I've loved dogs my whole life.
Yeah.
Until you get to like a really nasty dog that like is super like, I will fuck you up and kill you kind of dog. And you're like, oh my god, this kind of like fucks up my whole perspective of what I know to be dogs. You know what I mean?
I got hurt by a dog when I was young because I was like so used to them being nice, and there was just one that you just weren't supposed to touch. And kind of, you know.
It kind of like throws everything into disarray, into chaos. When you think of a dog later, you're like, oh wait, this could be a bad dog. It's a big dog. I'm kind of freaked out now. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So that was really scary when they showed the cute puppies on the puppy chow commercial versus the actual like German shepherds chasing dudes through the street.
Yeah.
That was great. Fucking what a great scene. There's so many like really visually interesting things that happen where like a body is floating in the river, freshly shot, and there's blood coming out of its head. And then like in that sewage, a ketchup bottle kind of like comes into focus, or like comes up from like the top of the screen close to the head where the blood is already gushing out. And it's kind of like, life is cheap, things get thrown away, or it's funny. It all goes to waste in the end kind of thing. I thought that was a really cool image. Just so many great images in this movie. I really like the old idea of like the 80s futuristic, rather the idea of what the 80s thought the future would be. So for one, they have like really souped up bikes and cars and stuff. There's like really souped up military equipment and vehicles. But when you look at the way they interact with their technology, it is very reminiscent of like the 80s or what they would think to be. For instance, they couldn't perceive like smartphones or like...
Yeah.
It would be hard for them to kind of like show, I guess, data on a computer maybe. So what they have instead is like when they're looking at like data for like hospital readouts or like Tetsuo's like energy crazy levels and like all the seismic activity and whatnot, it's coming out in like printer paper.
Yeah, it's not displaying on a screen somewhere. It's just
like constantly spitting out this printer paper. Or for the medical stuff, it's like ticker tape, like they might have back in the day for like hospitals or for stocks even.
Yeah.
Those endless receipts of like stock information. Like that is so antiquated now. But maybe back then that was not so far-fetched. That, yeah, we might be still using ticker tape for a lot of this shit.
Yeah.
Yeah. I really enjoy the themes of this movie because this was made like the 1988, the Cold War mentality of nuclear weaponry and proliferation, where they're like, okay, we have nuclear weapons. It caused huge destruction. What do we do with it? And everyone's kind of incapable of, I guess, coming to terms with how to approach this new problem. And it's kind of like lightly hidden is that like Tetsuo is basically like nuclear capability.
Yeah.
He could be a bomb. He could destroy almost anything, almost everything, really. But at the same time, he has all this potential to do good things too.
And also maybe a metaphor for the concept of like a petulant, childlike leadership with a nuclear weapon in their hand.
Definitely. Oh yeah, where it's like, what do you do when someone this out of control gets their hands on something so potentially dangerous? And they say in the jail cell scene where like everything in like the universe has potential, even maybe like the space dust, blah blah blah, because they form like the particles which become the amoeba, which becomes the nucleus, which becomes the animals, right? All this stuff potentially has energy, but that energy does not really have a direction. We kind of give it direction. So if that energy is kind of unleashed, all it's going to want to do, like in its raw form, is to consume everything around it, right? That's kind of like the way that nature goes. If amoeba gets all this power, it'll just try to eat everything around it and grow, which is an interesting concept where like you can try your best to control this Pandora's box thing that you've kind of opened. The formation of Akira, who is not Tetsuo, but he's like one of the first iterations of this psychic generation, this psychic experiment.
And I also find it funny that the kid Akira is a little boy, and the first atomic bomb ever used on Japanese soil was called Little Boy.
Mm-hmm. I think that's very telling because Tetsuo, the second time it will be used on a large scale, he's older, but he also has like all of these growing pains of like, I want to be in charge. I don't want to be the little guy anymore.
Yeah.
I want everything I can have, right?
Yeah.
And that's, I guess, also very realistic on how a country might react to having nuclear weapons.
Yeah.
Or at least the ability to exploit them. Where you see countries like Pakistan or Iran, a lot of places where they're like, even Russia to an extent, it's like, look, we got the technology. We don't want to use it, but if you piss us off too much, we might accidentally lose one of these things, and, who fucking knows,
Yeah, exactly.
Or, like, try to impose sanctions on me, because I got a nuke pointed at XYZ, right?
Yeah.
So, dealing with that once it has become capable of acting on its own will to, I guess, take over its surroundings or to promote its own interests above all else, which is, I mean, like, one could say the same for America, but hey, it becomes this really weird question of what the fuck have we done? Pandora's box is open, and this whole idea of mutually assured destruction is on the horizon.
Yeah.
So the military is trying to control the nuclear threat, this Akira, this Tetsuo. The politicians don't know what the fuck to do with it. Because that's so true to the Cold War mentality. I think that's great. And that's still something that hasn't been fully resolved either.
Oh, definitely not.
Yeah. So I really like that theme. I thought that was so interesting to see from the 80s perspective because the wall hadn't fallen yet. It might have been on the horizon, but that was still raging.
Yeah.
And I think the comic was made even earlier. So that was a really cool thing to see. One thing I liked in the manga a little bit more, I guess, is maybe just the theme of the individual, that they kind of possess this agency. They have the potential to act for good or bad, even though like Tetsuo is the idea of the nuclear bomb, right? In the manga, it's a little bit more muddled, where anybody can have that power, but like certain people have like a little bit more ability to grow from it or to exploit it in a way.
Sure.
Right? Which is kind of like, this is the human potential kind of thing. I liked it better when it was more of an allegory for nuclear arms. Because the manga, when it brought up that point of like, it's up to the individual, like how they choose to, once they have the power, to use it or to grow it or to learn from it or whatever, right?
Yeah.
To shape it. It was so muddled in the manga that it was like, what the fuck is happening? In the English version, I really liked the just really, really bad voice acting. They made the biker gang to be out like these weird greasers. It was so funny. Like, the girls were from the Bronx. They're like, what happened to your face? No, we should just take out those clowns once and for all. I was like, oh man, it was so great. And like, their weird greaser jargon when they're talking to each other. Like, no way, dude. Like, it just sounds so weird. Like, they don't know what they're going for, but it's just hilarious. My favorite voice in the English version was the little fat kid with the power, the psychic power, who floats around on his chair. They made him sound like a really, really bad impression of Marlon Brando. And he's like...
And he kind of looks like Donald Trump.
He can't exist outside. No, he looks like aged Marlon Brando. I get why they wanted him to have that voice. But it's so fucking weird. Because, like, they're supposed to have kids' voices. The rest of them do. The other two kids have kids' voices. But he's just like... little baby Marlon Brando, and it's a really bad impression.
You can't run away. I came to get you.
Like, it's so fucking funny. Every time he had a line, I busted out laughing. Yeah. So much of the message gets distorted in the English version. The doctor in Japanese... the readouts that he's reading on his machine is actually significant. But because it's hard to explain in English, or I guess they just didn't care to take the time, he just looks like a weird, doddering old guy who's looking at this glowing, shape-changing circle thing, right? Or like this ring thing. And he doesn't really say anything about what it is. The only thing he ever says about it is, beautiful.
Yeah.
It's like, oh, look at the pretty lights. It doesn't make any sense. It just seems like a dumb old man.
Yeah.
I groaned when I first saw it, but by the end, like, oh, what was that movie that you saw that you thought was really funny because it was so bad? Fury. I had the Fury experience where, like, I just started to, like, lay back and just appreciate all of its badness for its comedy aspects. And so the English version for me just became a giant farce, if you will.
Yeah.
Was there anything that didn't work for you in this movie?
Well, in the English version, when the singularity kind of takes everything away, and then it's like they're starting a new universe. There's this
really
weird
bad
voiceover over the new universe that says, I am Tetsuya. And I'm like, what?
It's a little bit better
what the
explained
fuck does
in
that
Japanese.
mean? I hope this is explained elsewhere. And then the credits just immediately start rolling.
I can try to walk you through this. So, the kids are talking to, what's his name? Kibugabo? Kimosabi? Kaneda. They're talking to Kaneda. And, they're saying, like, this is kind of like Tetsuo's world. Akira kind of had to, like, stop him. We kind of, like, needed to bring him back so he could stop him. We can't really do much about this now. But it's kind of like his universe. And so, this quote-unquote just horrible, destructive power has now become a power for creation, right? And so when the universe is forming, it says, I am Tetsuo. It's more symbolic of, like, I accept my present, my past, and my future. I'm kind of like all things in one. I'm the good and the bad. I'm creating now instead of just being a total dickhead, I guess. It's more symbolic than it is like literal, which is a bit of a cop-out, right? But I like the ambiguity more so than a literal translation, which did not hold up in the English translation.
Sure. Other than that, I don't know that there's a lot that didn't work for me. I think probably, even though I really enjoyed this movie, I feel like maybe a little bit more could have been cut out, could have been a little bit shorter, but that's kind of a nitpicky.
Can you give me an example?
I'm trying to think of a scene where I felt like I was just lost the whole time. Maybe the scene where they go through the waterways to try and break into the place. And then a bunch of the insurgent guys get killed by the person on the motorcycle with the Gatling gun, or the flying motorcycle thingy. I don't know, that's a little bit of a nitpick once again, because I really enjoyed this movie, but I don't really have anything else bad to say. So I just kind of went for something that I thought of in the moment. What about you? Was there anything that didn't work for you or that you thought was kind of...
Yeah. I mean, my
ill-fated?
biggest gripes are going to be with the English version. In the English version, Kaneda is just like a bully. He's just like a total dickhead to Tetsuo. And like the gang just totally disses on him constantly. But in Japanese, they're actually just all buddies. Yeah. They just pal around. If they're giving someone grief, they're just, they're joking around.
Yeah.
You know? And in the English version, when Tetsuo was getting like picked on, and he was like, fuck you, biker gang. I run the show now. You feel kind of justified because they're like shitting all over him in English. But in Japanese, that wasn't the case. He just kind of went mad with power in Japanese, which felt better.
Yeah.
I feel like in both versions, the relationship between Kei and Kaneda was pretty weak. It didn't feel fleshed out. Kaneda just wanted to get into her pants. And then he all of a sudden they will do anything for each other. So...
Yeah, that was weird.
Yeah, that felt really bizarre. There was no like commonality between them, really. She maybe just liked the attention, and he just maybe also likes the chase. That's the only thing I could really glean from that. But by the end, she is the super duper powerful conduit for the psychic kids, right?
Yeah.
But it doesn't feel right. The love-hate relationship between Kaneda and Tetsuo I constantly wrestled with, because in English especially, it was totally fucked up. But in Japanese, there was so much murkiness where it was like, I'm gonna kill that Tetsuo. You know, he killed our friend. What's his name? The other biker guy. Or, I gotta help Tetsuo. You know, he's my best friend. And it's like, oh, I'm gonna kill that Tetsuo. He stole my bike. It's like, I'm gonna save Tetsuo. He's become a giant monster thing. I'm gonna kill Tetsuo. He's become a giant monster thing. Like, what?
Yeah.
I feel like that was so... It feels better in Japanese, but I still don't like it. In the manga, it was even worse. It was fucking ridiculous. Like how I just need him to feel this way right now for this next 100 pages, or for this 10 pages, and then go back to the anger. Oh man, that confused the shit out of me. So I was not a fan of that. Guess that's about it. I liked mostly everything with this. I liked the sound, the art style, the message, the characters. At least they were all memorable, you know?
Yeah.
I could think of like any one character and remember them. I could think of like a lot of random army guys and remember them. I can remember their lines because they had some solid lines, like the tank driver when Akira's approaching the Olympic Stadium. Hey, what are you doing here? There's no civilians past this point. This is really off limits. It's really dangerous right now. And like, what? You hear him on the intercom. Wait, that's the escaped kid? Get back! Get back! And they all freak out, right? I like that. The moment of like just authority changing to just fear. Just the inability to even handle this overwhelming force coming your way. I like that. So, I don't know. It was very fascinating. I quite enjoyed this movie.
Yeah.
So...
Very, very interesting movie.
Would you recommend this movie? Would you recommend the English movie, Paul?
Yeah, I would. I would say, though, if you are hearing this and you've seen heavy metal and you like heavy metal, the English version is basically a 2-hour and 10-minute version of heavy metal, but just way higher quality, like way better. So, yeah, I would definitely recommend this. Would you recommend it?
Definitely. In Japanese, I would 100% say avoid it in English. because you have solidly ruined what otherwise would have been an excellent experience by seeing it in this just kind of like watered down.
It was silly.
Localized version. Yeah. Oh yeah. It was.
Yeah, it was silly, but it got the point.
They call Tetsuo Blockhead, and I'm like, oh man, some real Charlie Brown shit going on. If Charlie Brown were to get the power of 1,000 nuclear bombs.
I believe someone also says what the heck at one point, which was great.
You blockhead. Oh my god, dude. It's so funny, but at the same time, you've just... Yeah, don't see it in English. Watch it in Japanese. It's my recommendation. There's a lot to enjoy.
There we go. So now we are on to your name.
Paul, can you tell me
your name?
What's in your name?
Your name is 2016 or 17 both-ish movie. Well, 2016 in Japan.
Yeah, 2016.
And then it came out here in 2017. It was a 2016 anime movie wherein this girl in a rural but still pretty modern part of Japan, Mitsuha, and this dude,
Takakun,
in Tokyo, I think it is.
Yes, Tokyo.
They find that for a little while in each of their lives, they are going to sleep as themselves and then waking up as the other of them. So one day Taki will go to bed as Taki, and he'll wake up as Mitsuha. And one day she'll go to bed and she'll wake up as him. So the story evolves around them kind of figuring this out, developing rules for this, and like realizing that each other is there, getting into it, and then they get some wacky news, or rather
Taki-kun. Well, it's Taki.
Taki-kun.
Taki. Kun is like a respective conjugation for a male.
Oh, I kept thinking they said Taki-ka.
Oh, no.
At any rate, he makes a startling discovery about Mitsuha and her the place that she lives, and it becomes this kind of devastating story of... Yeah, it's a devastating story of, they each have like little bits of information about each other's lives, and they're trying to use that to make each other's lives better. In Mitsuha's case, she's trying to make Taki's life better by making him more interesting to women, or, stuff like that. And in Taki's life, he's trying to make Mitsuha's life more interesting because, this is a spoiler if you haven't seen the movie, he finds out that maybe 2/3 of the way through the movie, he finds out that something extremely tragic has taken place in Mitsuha's life regarding her.
Sure.
Essentially, after all of this is revealed to both of them in different ways, so that they each don't really know what's going on in their own life, but they know a lot about what's going on in the other person's life, they have to kind of find a way to work with the little bits of information that the other one has given them to kind of make something good happen, I guess. That's a lot of me trying not to spoil it, but I think I got the point across there.
Sure. I got it. I know what you mean.
So, Anson, tell me what worked for you in this movie. Your name,
aka Kimi no Nawa. Man, a while back we reviewed 5 centimeters per second, which,
oh my god,
you should all go watch and B, listen to our podcast, because that is a great fucking movie. We were really excited about this movie coming out because we're like, we gotta look at this director, we gotta watch this guy. This was before we saw Your Name. There was hype, I think, maybe about it coming out soon, or maybe it was already released. And so we're like, we gotta see what this dude's working on. We gotta see what this dude's doing.
Yeah.
Because 5 centimeters per second was outstanding. And lo and behold, this movie is basically a home run on every front. Mainly...
yeah, oh my god.
Yeah, it's a grand slam on the emotional engagement level, because my God, do you feel excited with your characters, with the characters? You feel anxious with your characters. You feel sad, angry, upset, and you will get chills watching this movie. You will get a lot of chills watching this movie from all those different emotions.
I cried.
Yeah. Like, you'll get the happy chills, the sad chills, the scared chills, the mad chills. You get them all. That is something to be said. That is truly amazing that any movie can elicit so much empathy from the viewer. And maybe it's just you and me, but I don't think so, because across the board from all different places and cultures, this movie is quite revered. I think it's for the same reason, because it really does make you feel the feels, you know?
Oh, yeah. I haven't cried this hard since my yearly reviewing of Apollo 13.
What? I didn't know that was emotional.
Just a bad joke.
Okay.
I cry at Apollo 13 and I watch it every year.
Never forget. Never forget.
Never forget. Never forget Apollo 13.
Yeah.
Oh my God.
Visually, this movie is just stunning. It's
so gorgeous.
Yeah.
Oh.
There's very few. Okay. I wanted to see Akira first because I knew that Your Name would probably... Actually, I've already seen Your Name before. But I knew rewatching Your Name first would, like, set a really unfair standard of animation and drawing quality that I knew Akira of the 80s couldn't match. And I was right.
Yeah.
Akira for its time is fucking gorgeous. I mean, it's still gorgeous today, but compared to Your Name...
It's gorgeous in a different way. It's not polished.
No, it feels more like a comic book, or like... It feels like Disney's animated of, like, Snow White versus... It's more like Snow White versus Finding Nemo. And that's even a bad example.
Yeah, right.
Snow White versus Wall-E? Goddamn. There's too many to choose from. So, the musical choice is excellent.
Yeah.
The happy music, the sad music, just the ambient kind of music as shit happens. That was really, really well chosen. I'm trying to go through the broad strokes here before I get a little bit more specific.
Yeah.
The character...
It's going to be hard to be specific because we want people to see this and don't want to spoil it.
Sure. And I'll edit some shit out because I like to talk to you about some stuff too.
Sure.
The characters are also memorable. They're also lovable. Oh man, there's so much humor involved too, where I think, like, I pretty much laughed at something every main character has, like, said in this movie.
Yeah.
Definitely a solid laugh from, like, Mitsuha's friends, Taki's friends, Mitsuha's family, when they switch bodies. Solid laughs. Just, like, solid laughs. Now, to get a little bit more specific, I like the really little details they add in this movie, in the way of the drawing or the animation. When there are things like the reflection in a finely polished floor. That's such a good touch. It's so nice.
Yeah.
What this director does a lot, remember from 5 centimeters per second, is he focuses a lot of time kind of elapsing by looking at the legs.
Yeah.
And you're able to tell a lot of story through that, surprisingly. And no one really does that.
Yes, you are.
When Mitsuha's walking around in Tokyo or wherever, and, like, she takes off her shoes and rubs her feet, that's, like, brilliant. It's genius. It's like, that tells you that she's been going on all day, and, like, but she's still kind of soldiering on. Just sitting at the train station and, like, looking at, like, the shoes, or when she's dancing on stage and just looking at the legs and the feet. It's just so smart, right? Or, like, the running and the walking and people, like, looking at their phone.
Yeah.
He's a master at conveying a sense of time in very unconventional ways. So This movie also has the added benefit of having a lot of montages, as you would need for this type of movie, where they're telling two separate stories at the same time, with a lot of time passing in between. These montages are amazing.
Yeah.
Oh my god, I can't think of another movie that has, like, this quality of montages that are so integral to the plot and so effective. It's not like the Karate Kid Eye of the Tiger shit, where you know, or a Rocky montage where you see them train, hitting a slab of meat, running up a mountain, waxing on and off a car. No, this is, like, actually substantial to the plot, and you feel the character's growth through the montage, not just, like, you know, like in a boxing way.
That is an underrated facet of this movie's montages.
Yeah, you see the emotional growth, you see the relationships grow through, like, just the little blurbs of, like, conversation they have with each other through their notes they leave behind to one another.
Yeah.
Mitsuha's like, a girl came up and wanted to go out with me today. What are you doing to me? And then he's like, it's not my fault if your life is way more interesting and people like you more when I'm living your life. And she's like, get the fuck out of here. Like, that was so funny, right? Because, there's so much shit going on. It's like, how come all the people at work hate me? What did you do with the manager who I have a crush on, right? Or who everyone has a crush on. It's like, oh, what? I just talked to her. We're hanging out. You're hanging out with her? You know, like, we went on a date. What? Or whatever the fuck. Like, there's some really funny development that goes on. They're even able to elegantly show what a man would do in a girl's body and a girl would do in a man's body, which is like, there's like a few scenes of Taki groping his boobs. Because of course you would. Yeah. You're curious, and it's for a kid his age. Of course you would. And then Mitsuha also like puts her hand on the junk, and is like, ugh! And then like when there's that scene of like they're both like really curious about their anatomy. There's at least one quick montage scene for each of them where like they both probably masturbated, but it's done really comically.
Oh, yeah,
it doesn't draw attention to itself. But you appreciate, the laugh it gives you, and I would do that too, kind of like feeling of like, I'm glad they kept this in for realism, and I'm glad they tastefully kind of had this without making it A, gross, or B, doting on it, or whatever. It was in there for as much as it needed to do. Fucking great. The theme itself is just very interesting too, like, the body swapping thing, plus like, oh man, I've never seen anything tackled this way before. With so much care and attention to detail. The jokes that they have in the very beginning, where Mitsuha's in Taki's body, and like, she's using the wrong conjugation when she's saying I. She's saying like the feminine I, the sort of formal male I, the not so formal I.
And then she tries bokuwa.
Yeah. And then like his friends are like, huh? And like when they finally settles on the right conjugation, it's so funny. Like that is like such a Japanese thing, but like, I feel like the humor gets across in hopefully other languages.
Oh, definitely.
Yeah, that was so fucking funny. The jokes are solid in this movie. Back to the montages. The way they're able to pace the montages along with the plot, it helps the movie stay so exciting. You never get tired of the montage in this movie. And at the same time, it's just so fucking endearing and engaging.
Yeah.
I like that sense of, it feels like you're spying on these people's lives while you're watching their day-to-day of the other person's life, or even just their own day-to-day, right?
Yeah.
That not so omnipotent third-person perspective feels so good in this, because it feels a little bit perverted, because you're watching their triumphs and follies, their kind of like affection for each other, while they're both kind of like trying to deny that maybe they are starting to care deeply for each other in their life because they're getting to know each other so well. You get that really kind of like pervy or perverted sense of like, I see what's going on here, without them ever trying to bash you over the head with it. This is not a movie where like they shout dumb shit like, I feel sad, I feel happy. They don't have to like spell shit out really.
Yeah.
That sounds weird the way I put it, but that makes sense because a lot of animes have just terrible writing where they will just say or shout how they feel because they couldn't write it in to how they feel or like show how they feel or walk you through kind of like why they should feel a certain way, rather than just have them just blatantly say it. This movie doesn't do that.
Yeah.
So you get a really like even more empathetic sense when watching these characters, because it is kind of a lot more, it's not kind of, it is just a lot more subtle in this approach. It is so much more realistic that these people they feel so real. You're really inhabiting this part of their lives as they're inhabiting the other person's life. It's funny because they are a weird, not omnipotent third person taking control of that other person's life, right?
Yep.
So you get that sense right along with them, which is such a good vehicle. The sense of innocence in this movie is great. Ghibli movies always have a profound sense of innocence or naivete, but this does it in such a more adolescent, powerful way. I think it's probably one of the most effective portrayals of that I've seen ever, just hands down, of the innocence of that point of time in your youth, of like just before high school, kind of. Or maybe their grade system's different, so it might be our equivalent of high school. Yeah. So
It could be.
yeah.
I kind of got the sense that they would have to be like in high school since like Taki had like a job and shit.
Yeah.
And his own money and stuff like that.
Yeah, definitely so. Like the architecture that he draws in his free time, that is not something an 8th grader could draw. It's like high school. This is like just before college.
Sure. Yeah.
And the last thing I'll say that I really loved about this movie is it is just riddled with nostalgia. It's so palpable. It's that kind of love of a simpler time, love of a simpler feel. Not only for like the youth that they're experiencing, but just like the scenery, the buildings, the way of life. When he goes to Mitsuha's world, like it's just so much more simple. And like for her to go experience the newness of Tokyo for the first time is like also nostalgic when it's like, I remember that excitement too, you know, and you can, not only does it focus in the movie on the theme of nostalgia, but you as a viewer also feel that as an adult or as an older person seeing their experiences of certain things for the first time, you know, first date, first love, first, like I said, first time being in a big city. Goddamn, man. I could go on, but I think I'll leave that there.
Yeah.
This movie, Primo, Kimi no Nawa, or Your Name is great. And Paul.
Your Name.
What worked for you in Your Name?
I don't know how to quite describe it because I was too kind of enthralled when I watched it to write notes. So
yeah, that's
I don't
powerful.
have a lot of concrete things that worked for me, but like this movie really made me feel things very acutely.
Mm-hmm.
I felt, like you said, a full range of emotions when one of them would come back from being the other one and have to like rejoin their life and kind of re-figure out what happened the last day or so. I thought it was fun because you were like, what are they going to find out the other one has done now?
Mm-hmm.
Type of thing. I really liked the politics of Mitsuha's family and friends. Like,
yeah, I love that too.
Best friend's dad is like the head of like construction or whatever. My dad's the kind of head honcho guy.
He's the mayor.
I don't know, I like that.
Yeah.
Yeah, I kind of like that stuff a lot.
Yeah, that's hella real too.
Yeah, the music was super beautiful. My favorite song in this movie was, there's a montage, I think it's like probably exactly halfway through the movie or maybe like 25% to halfway in the movie, where it's like this kind of like, it's almost like a punk song, but it's like super upbeat and uplifting sounding and like hopeful, but it's got these kind of like 16th note guitar kind of shreddy riffs going on in it. And it's playing during the montage where they're first deciding that they understand I'm in another person's body and here's all the things I'm going to do.
Here's the guidelines. Like, don't fuck with this.
Yeah, exactly. When they're like explaining the diary that they're leaving for each other and stuff like that.
So the ground rules, basically.
So I really liked the music a lot. That song was a huge highlight. One thing I wish I knew was any Japanese at all besides Hello and Goodbye, because I feel like all of the songs had singing in them, or like 90% of them had singing in them, and I feel like I missed a lot of lyrics that might have lent themselves to the plot, I guess. I really also liked that no character was really reduced to a dumb film trope. I liked that you felt like you could, I don't know, it wasn't like as obnoxiously heightened as anime has a bad reputation for being sometimes, if you get my meaning.
Definitely. No, there's a definite stigma around anime for good reason.
Yeah, and this felt really grounded, but at the same time, it was like grounded, but still pulling no punches when it comes to showing you like really beautiful things or really sad things or really terrible things. You know, I don't know. I kind of liked how well-rounded it was in that respect. And, loved the ending. Big fan of that.
Yeah.
The animation also, it bears mentioning, is so beautiful. Like my favorite kind of, I don't know if I can even explain this because it's a spoiler, but there's this one part where Taki is essentially experiencing like himself in what I can only describe as a different form of animation. Do you remember the part I'm talking about?
Can you elaborate?
Like it goes from regular life to like all in black and white, and then it swirls a bunch, and you know, like he kind of like reappears, and it shows bits from his past and Tatsuha's past. Yes, like that was so gorgeous, and it felt so innovative. Felt like an episode of Off the Air or something. It was so cool, and you know. There's that. There's the way the stars looked. There's these gorgeous sweeping like crane style shots, like something you would do on like a big film crane if you were shooting on film. These gorgeous like kind of like camera moves over large periods of or large swaths of land. I don't know. Everything about this movie was great. I feel like I'm just sucking on its dick at this point.
I'll suck this movie's dick all day.
Yeah, but. At any rate, was there anything that didn't work for you or that you thought maybe could have been reworked or not?
I would not touch a thing on this movie. I think it should not be tampered with. The one thing I would like is that the music was constantly translated. I downloaded 2 versions because I wanted to have the music translated.
Yeah.
Excuse me. I downloaded 2 subtitles, like files, to try to watch it. But yeah, both of them didn't have the lyrics to the music translated. But there were 2 different songs, or 3 different songs in this movie. And I feel like I was missing out on the montage because I wasn't understanding the music. I could see visually what was happening. I could understand what the dialogue was happening, like, you know, what was going on. But I wanted the music to also sweep me off my feet as well. That's the one thing I'd say. And I guess maybe given more time, maybe something like that will come out. But that is definitely something I sorely miss in this movie. Was there anything in this movie that didn't work for you?
No, I mean, I was glued to the screen the whole time I watched this movie, and I loved every second of it. Thought it was very special.
Yeah.
Made me feel very, very good. It upped my level of faith in movie making as like a legitimate form of affecting art. I guess, if that's not too pretentious to say.
In affecting art?
Affecting, like, art that is affecting, like, affecting, you know?
No. Oh, it's like...
It like, restored my faith in the idea that, like, movie making can be an art form that deeply affects people.
There you go.
That's more clear.
Now I understand, yeah. Sorry.
No, you're good. But yeah, I can't think of anything that didn't work in that vein. This was just such a delightful movie, and it was so creative, and it was so fresh. It doesn't feel like anything I've ever seen before. I related to these characters who, by all accounts, I should not necessarily need to relate or be relating to, because, you know, different age, different culture, everything. It just made me feel so many things. I thought it was so great.
100% agree.
Yeah. Would you recommend this one?
I would recommend this to everybody. I think people of all ages and walks will appreciate it. I think for a lot of people, getting over the stigma of it being an anime movie is tough, but it is so worth it. My God, this transcends. It's like they say there are certain shows and movies that transcend the title of anime due to its stigma, due to the tropes that it usually falls into and its own pitfalls. This has almost none of it. Or if it does have some of it, it is not even noticeable at all. And it is not off-putting at all. So yeah, this would be a 100% recommendation for all people. How about you?
Definitely, yeah. Very definitely.
Yeah.
So this episode we got to watch, 2 really solid movies, and I feel like I'm just in a really good mood because I got to see 2 new movies that I'm now a huge fan of.
Same. I had not seen Akira before, and I forgot how much I liked Your Name.
I hadn't seen either of these before. I'm so stoked.
Oh, hell yeah. You didn't see that before?
No, I've never seen either of these. I know because we talked about
watching Your Name.
So we're coming up on like about a year of doing this podcast.
I think it might be past a year now.
We talked about when we were first starting we watched, or maybe it was like 6 months ago. We watched 5 centimeters per second. And we were like, we got to watch the next movie by this guy. It's coming out soon. And then I just never watched it until this episode.
Oh man, the first time I saw it, I don't remember being as blown away. I watched it on a plane. I said, "Oh my god, they have your name! I'm gonna watch it," and I still loved it. But to see it on like
just not
a bigger screen, yeah. Oh, dude, I think I actually teared up my first time seeing it on the plane. There are 2 moments I think where I like kind of like choked up a little bit. But for me, watching it the second time at home, I didn't have that effect. But I think I was blown away by everything else more so than the reveal.
Yeah.
But man, that would have been a real fucking roller coaster if I had that too.
Oh yeah, you kidding me?
Yeah. So tell your mama, tell your sister, go watch Your Name. It's quite
go
good.
watch Your Name.
Your Name. Tell your grandma, tell your grandpa, go watch Your Name.
Why are you always hanging on my arm? Go watch Your Name.
There you go.
Well, at any rate, go watch Your Name.
Yeah.
Is there any other subjects you want to touch on in either of these?
I could, but I feel like I've said my piece. Anything more would just be like extra shit. Yeah. We can leave it in for now, but I'll probably edit this. Dude, both of these movies had such a solid story.
Oh, yeah.
Such a solid cast. Such a solid visual style. Excellent sound. Great cinematography. Fucking amazing animation. God damn, dude. These 2 movies were so good. We watch a lot of not a lot. We watch quite a few okay movies on this podcast. But these 2, man, shit. I was so stoked. I fucking read 1,200 pages of bullshit because I liked Akira so much. I was trying to find that deeper meaning, see what they cut out. And I'm like, oh, I'm so glad they cut all this shit out.
Yeah, like, thank God for editors.
Another cool thing we can talk about in terms of Akira is you see, I don't know if there were tropes before this happened or after Akira, but there are animes after Akira that I've seen that I think kind of ape a lot of what Akira did or had to say or show. A really popular anime called Full Metal Alchemist Brotherhood. The ending sequence is very much like Akira, where they have like this fight with God and like the power of friends kind of like saves the day. There's a big trope in anime.
Friendship saves the day.
Yeah, that is one of the biggest tropes in anime is friendship saves the day. Friendship defeats God, and they're always fighting God. And I think when this, in Akira's sense, is far more palpable and grounded because that God that they're fighting is, I think, a looming threat of destruction, both experienced in like, World War II and then during the Cold War of it could happen at any moment. We're the US is kind of like puppets out here. Russia could bomb us.
Yeah.
Mutually assured destruction. Even if they destroy each other, what would destroy like all the ecological life in the atmosphere and all that, everyone would die, right? So that sense of fighting God is more of fighting, I guess, the place that Japan found itself in post World War II and during the Cold War. Because that God was Godzilla. It was a monster that didn't give 2 shits about you, could just walk through your town, destroy everything, right?
Yeah.
So that feeling comes from a real place versus the enemies that come today are just like, we all have to fight God. It doesn't make any fucking sense. They just always have to fight God for some reason. So I think in that sense, that may have affected a lot of animes going forward because that message was very strong. But we've lost, like the Your Name thing, we kind of lost the meaning of the tradition. So, but we just do the dance steps now to keep it alive. They're doing the dance steps because it sells. Because it's easy to make a fight versus quote-unquote God, right?
Yeah.
So I think it is rare to see it done so right in the way that Akira did it. Maybe because they influence so heavily the shows going forward or the movies going forward. So
yeah.
Because you're not a big anime guy. I just thought that would be something to say.
Yeah, I'm one of those guys who's really into the idea of anime, but it has to be like my aesthetic for me to enjoy it.
No, yeah, I totally get that.
Not I'm not really proud of that, but
You don't want to be grouped in with the, I'll just say it, the weebs and the weirdos and the quote-unquote self-labeled otakus.
yeah.
Those just really weird people.
Yeah.
Yeah. As a half Japanese person, or just having like that Japanese root, it's so embarrassing and kind of like bizarre to see the just straight geeking out over what they perceive as like the Japanese culture when it's just so boiled down. It would be like thinking that American culture was Scooby-Doo. It's like, it feels so fucking weird. People just like walking around saying like jinkies all over the place, you know, in a foreign country. It's like what the fuck?
It's like a lot of music. I like won't listen to the music, not because I won't like it, but because their fans are so insufferable.
Oh god,
I don't want to be, you know, a part of that in any way.
I 100% get that. Yeah,
that's what anime is to me. Anime is Justin Bieber fans.
Yeah, no, dude, I might get that. I so get that. But now that you've dipped your feet, I think you have.
I mean, I still love it. I still love, you know, like Cowboy Bebop, and Dragon Ball Z will also always be my guilty pleasure. And I love, you know,
you have
all the movies we've seen.
A more fuller and I think better appreciation than most people. I'm not counting the weebs or the anime people.
Yeah.
But yeah, maybe we can start taking you one step at a time through the kiddie pool. And
yeah, I need to find more stuff that's just like really high quality like this. Like I think
I got a couple recommendations.
We mentioned last episode that I really want to watch
Ghost in the Shell.
Ghost in the Shell, and I want to see the series as well.
Yeah.
And then I want to watch maybe one of the other movies they made in that series.
The last one was pretty good. That was the closest
Yeah.
thing to the TV show that they had.
Yeah, so I have to go through that. I'm excited for that.
I got a couple that we can go through. Maybe.
Yeah, so maybe we'll have another anime episode here soon,
or
even just an
one.
animation episode here soon, because I'm sure there's a lot of shit out there for us to pick through.
Oh, definitely.
I don't know that I have too much more to say about either of these. On the off chance that we have, do you have anything more to add?
Not really.
I wish I would have grabbed the fucking phone.
Yeah.
The first time. I knew it was going to happen again the second it actually happened.
There's a series called Steins Gate that you'd really, really like, I think.
Yeah.
It's 24 episodes, apparently, and let me see.
Ooh, I liked the remake of, I think it was Voltron, that came out last year.
Oh, I haven't seen it.
I didn't really think it was a great series, but I thought it was just fun to watch. But yeah, I need to get deeper into some of it. I always hover over that anime category on Netflix, and then I never actually do anything.
Bakano was good on Netflix. I'd recommend that.
Yeah, and I still have to watch Paprika.
Do not watch in English. Do not watch.
Yeah.
This is a show that would probably jazz you. Steins Gate's only 24 or 23 episodes.
Nice.
This is really high quality. The animation is also like top tier, but the story, holy shit, man. I've never seen anyone do a story / its theme ever like this before. Like, it is just
nice.
It'll blow your fucking mind. Ghost in the Shell will blow your mind dope. For like political realism / drama / special forces coolness. This one is like science fiction. I'm not going to spoil too much. A weird science fiction, like blow your fucking mind in another way. Like, oh man, dude. We're going to have a great time.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. Well, anyway, should we end this podcast?
Let's end this podcast. I am Paul Morgan.
And I have been Anson Chan. Domo arigato, you Mr. and Mrs. Robatus, for listening to our anime podcast.
That is our name. Doesn't sound quite as cool that way. I quit. All right. Pressing the stop button now.
All right, bye.
Bye.